Hi, I'm Jake. This is my '07 LHT electric glide standard. We're going to install the GlidePro shaft, our newest bushings, and our new front motor mount. I'm going to do this in real time, just like you're here. We'll get started, we'll pull these floorboards off. You guys are having a nice day. I'm just at the hangar. Just got these new bushings done recently. So if you've got our shaft already and got the new bushings, you can always give me a call and see what we can do. Get you upgraded parts. Pretty much a stock FLHT. It's got fancy front slip-ons and a K-net, but other than that, it's like everybody else's. Little clamp here, so we can get these passenger floorboard brackets off. There's only one bolt here on this install. It's really hard to get to, or difficult to get to. If it wasn't for this bottom left-hand bolt on these passenger floorboard brackets, we wouldn't, this would take about 30 minutes, but because of that, it adds a little extra work. So you want to take the bolts out of the exhaust back on the bag hanger. We'll try to get this done as quick as we can. Then there's the bolt here that's at the transmission, right beside the transmitter. This exhaust bracket that comes off of there. Let me go ahead and pull that out. And what we're going to do is we're going to make enough room so that bottom bolt will come out, so we can get to that bottom bolt. It depends a lot on your exhaust. Whenever I had an exhaust that I had to pull the whole exhaust off. Even some of the 2-into-1s, that was okay. I've actually had some exhausts that, I'm not sure if it was Reinhardt's, but I didn't even have to loosen it. There was enough room in there to get that bottom bolt out without thought it would be best to do it with a stock bike. Get that bolt out of there. And go ahead and loosen your exhaust. You don't have to take these nuts off. You just need to loosen these exhaust flange nuts. Front and back. front. And that's going to get the exhaust loose enough so that you see that? So you can pull it out. So you get to that bottom passenger floorboard bracket, cleat block. There's a few different names. We're going to go ahead and get this side off. If you've never had these bolts off your bike before, there's this, hardly seems to have this permanent Loctite. It seems more like hydraulic line sealer than Loctite. It can be kind of a pain to get off. But that's better than falling off, I guess, huh? You can see how that exhaust will come out now. Sorry, it seems like I got my back to you. A big part of this, but try to put the camera where I can get the best view of a complete job. And you can do this by yourself. I do it by myself fairly regular. It's nice to have somebody help you. So you've got the passenger floorboard brackets off on the right side. We'll run over here to the left side. Left side's really nice. Most all exhaust. Nothing in the way. Not a pain. Just bust these two bolts out. We have passenger floorboard off. 2 bolts. Go. You need to get a little scissor jack to support the transmission, because what you're really pulling out are the rear engine mounts. I know, swing arm bracket mounts, engine mounts. That's part of the problem. We'll get into that some other time. So you want to support the tranny, and if you watch around this isolator here, this donut thing, you can see it centered in the cutout in the frame. That'll make it a lot easier to get off. And you need an 11/16 on both sides. Yeah, and you can be fine. but if you take a breaker bar, stick it over on the side, you can actually reach through and hold it yourself underneath the bike. It's easiest if the nut on the left side comes off first. Hang on a second. So if you'll hold the right side and try turning the left side, lucky. Like that. The left side will come off. It'll come off either side, but it's easier to pull this isolator off this direction. It tends to hang up on the primary, on the back of the primary on the left side. So if you can get that left side off, that makes this easier. And for you guys with, say, the 87, with the 87 to 01 bikes, you have this shaft. Okay, can you see that? It's got a welded nut on this side. If it's been installed correctly, it's actually the welded nut's going to be on the right-hand side, and that's the side. The other end is the one you can get on. And again, it just makes it easier to take out. I'm not going to hit it with the hammer. I'm just going to push on it with the handle, and then we get our isolator. See that? Comes out as far as the cup. Push it a little further and go ahead and pop that block off of there. This sleeve bushing, go ahead and pop that off, and then go ahead and push a little bit further, and come over on this side, and as you can see, it should just come right out. You're going to need to lock this up in a vise and get the nut off of the other end. Vice grips or rag will work. It would be best not to damage your shaft. You want to keep your parts nice. But yeah, just a little bit. It's not a lot of torque on there. So that'll come right off. There's your right side isolator and your right side bushing. Real quick, you can see, I don't know if you guys have seen our parts and compared much, but this is Harley's shaft, this is ours. Some of you have asked sometimes why you couldn't just run why they couldn't just keep their stock shaft. You can see out here that we've made our shaft longer to accommodate our bushing, okay? All right, so we're all apart here. We're gonna take our new shaft, swing arm, GlidePro, swing arm shaft. We're gonna coat it with anti-seize. Most any of that's good stuff, okay? Loctite makes a brand. There's a couple different ones out there. This is a copper-based anti-seize. And we're gonna do that really liberally, as in a lot. Yeah. And you guys can fill in this time with your own stuff right now. Where the bushings go on to. Everything but the threads. Don't want the bushings to get locked up on the shaft either. Now normally, if you're careful taking your old shaft out, the swing arm will keep fairly good alignment. Now you notice I haven't loosened the belt tension or anything over there. We'll check it after we're done every time, but normally it won't even change. And all I got here is a little bit of off alignment. My swing arm popped up a little, which is normal, and then back just a tad. And if I pull that down and look through and get a good visual alignment, I can usually get that to go right in there. I'll sometimes take my hammer handle and get it over that last little step. And if you get that step flush with the swing arm, that's where it needs to go. Bushings, back in. All right. Now for a part of ours. Need a little lubricant, okay? A little silicone's good, something like that. You want to lube these isolators, Harley's Donuts here, motor mounts. Move that up a little. It's a snug fit with our bushing inside. And we've accommodated for Harley's offset on this, and there's a reason for that, or at least I think. There's a reason they canned those. While you're putting it together, you can look at it and think about this, but I believe they cammed it so that the swing arm wouldn't mimic, copy the motion of the motor. I'm pretty sure that's why. If you look at it when you're, and think about it when you put it in, you see that's at 1 o'clock. Here's your swing arm in the center now. This is doing this, but it's doing it around this pivot point. If it was centered here, it would tend to move the swing arm with the motion of the motor. Again, center that swing arm in that hole really helps. It's a snug fit, but usually, there you go. It's right in there. Again, that notch on there wants to be at about 1 o'clock. So we put that side on, and we'll go ahead and grab a nut and washer for that side. Crimp lock, top crimp lock nuts. You don't need to use Loctite. And just a little lube on these, on this washer face, so that it doesn't tend to try to spin our bushing inside the isolator when you torque it. And you just put that on finger tight. We'll get this other bushing in the left side isolator. Again, a little bit of lube. Got that little lube right inside there. Run that around. Anything works, even water works. I guess rubber's probably, or grease probably not good for Harley's rubber. It doesn't really bother silicone too much. Only thing you wouldn't want to get acetone or something like that in there. Make sure you're lined up. You saw how I lined that up, and then push it in with it lined up, and you can get pretty close to a perfect alignment. See that? Pretty much perfect alignment on that bushing there, with the stainless steel washer facing out, by the way. That's all bonded. That sleeve is shouldered down, and the stainless steel, laser cut stainless steel washers are set on there, and then spot welded on the back side, and then bonded to the back of the washer and to the stainless steel sleeve. You pick that just a little bit past that primary, just to get your bushings. None of us ever did that before. Put your alignment on and get you set up there. There you go. And back over this side, we can knock this in. Pretty much form where it goes. I don't know if you guys can hear that little zipping noise when that slides on there, but it seems like they always make it. So just kind of look for it as I put it together. And again, that washer with a little bit of silicone. And just put that notch at 1 o'clock. Just get that on there finger tight. So it's almost flush. The crimp lock will kick in before you can get it completely flush, but just about flush. All right, so we'll do this side first. You can go ahead and push these caps out. And make sure you have the right side. They're stamped in the back. You got our right side is here. And here's the left. Pop that cap out. And we have bolts from it. And we're going to put some Loctite on there. I really like the chapstick Loctites. Nice blue. Not nearly as messy. All right, and on the right side, again, we got this exhaust to deal with. So we're going to put this bottom bolt in the isolator first, or I'm sorry, in the passenger floorboard bracket. And we're going to make sure that notch is at about 1 o'clock. And go ahead and pull that exhaust out, drop this in, and there you go. Just like it should be. Go ahead and put our top bolt in. Half inch. Short half-inch wrench. This is always the top. Like I said, waiting for this bottom bolt. Much easier job. And make sure you don't cross it. Right? time to take a second, whatever it is you need to do. You want to check in the back and make sure that the pin on that passenger floorboard bracket is in that notch on that isolator, or at least donut engine mount. And it's important that it be in there and lined up. Hold your swing arm in alignment. Think about those isolators when we're on that, putting this in. They're really just like, if you think about them like a pre-wound spring. Let me grab one. Yeah, if you think about them, like they're just like a pre-wound spring, you know, with the notch, and there's your notch at 1 o'clock, right? And here's your motor up here doing this. Well, that's what this is trying to do too on your swing arm shaft, is this. And so that's really what it is. It's a motor mount. It's not a swing arm shaft mount. And then with our bushing, hopefully eliminates any ability for that swing arm to then oscillate in that. Okay. And I'm going to do the same over on this side. This side's a lot easier because there's no exhaust in the way. And I can use ratchet on both nuts. Again, don't forget Loctite. Make sure you stuck those big steel bushings back in. Look around, make sure they're not laying on your bench there before you put all that together. Just go back in. Now there is that little cup. I do get this question a lot. You know, here's the stock parts off your shaft. There's this little bushing here, okay, and just, you know, throw those away, okay, and then that nut too. Okay. Loctite to the left side. Should line up pretty good. Again, you know, sometimes they'll vary from side to side, and you'll need to jack it up or down to get that bolt, those bolts aligned. This looks pretty good. Give it a shot again. Don't hesitate once you got one side. If it looks like jacking it up or letting it down, make it easier. Again, make sure your notches align with that pin and on the on this left side. Sometimes you need to get a light so you can see down in here well. You want to make sure that that's lined up. Go ahead and put both sides down tight. Make sure everything's snug up. big wrench, I can get a long wrench, so I can get a little bite on these 1/2 inch heads. And if you got a like a 06, 03, these bolts actually have 5/8 head, which makes a lot more sense to me. I'm not sure why. Hardly made the head smaller on the same size bolt, does the same job. So a few things about that. So you got that. You can go ahead and stick your little clamp back on. Put your wires here to your passenger floorboard bracket. Now we've got both sides torqued down on the passenger floorboard bracket. We haven't done the torque yet on the shaft, but we can go ahead and get the jack out of our way now. Everything will be supported fine. And let's go ahead and torque the shaft down. I usually go to 30 foot-pounds first on both sides. And you need to try to torque them down even. Look at it, pull it off. This is one of the places, if you got somebody to help you, it really can be nice. But you want to watch the nuts on both sides and make sure they're torquing down about the same. Number of threads showing. That's 3/4 inch. And again, if you are by yourself, it's something you can do alone. So like I say, I usually go 30 foot-pounds first. I'll get on one side. And you want to check those, okay? So we're just a little past flush on this side. And on this side, not quite there. So what I'm going to do is tighten down on the other side. Again, you can do this by yourself. See if I can get this side to spin down a little bit now. You want to keep an eye while that's going. Here. Now I want to turn the switch again. Alright, that's going really nice now. Pretty much even on both sides. Get up to 30. Good. Now what I'll do is check in the lowest side. I'll go ahead because I want to go to, we're running at 40 now. I know Some of our instructions say 38. We've gone ahead and cranked that up a couple more foot-pounds to 40. Right there. And the low side, if you have one, it seems to be over there. This is the one we'll put that last 10 foot-pounds of torque on. Of course, then checking the other side. And there you go. Shaft's in, torque. Some parts are already back together. Shaft's out already. Let's go ahead and put the exhaust back on. And I know we got these little lock washers, but why don't we go ahead and dab a Loctite on those too. I like to get it up here. Get these bolts in first to kind of hold the exhaust where it goes. This one thing. And then tighten the heads down. And then put that bracket bolt back in. That's tight. Here to my exhaust. Snug that back up. Back here, do the same. And on the bottom. And then we'll put this bolt back in on the exhaust bracket right here under your fan case. torqued, tight, back on, caps back on. See, goes in, you don't know. Nothing else there, nothing showing, just replaces the stock plates. Go ahead and get our other side. Cap on there. Little Loctite on passenger floorboard bracket bolts. Again, my chapstick Loctite, make sure like that. And then my cool little snap-on, I hate to give them a plug, but ball-in socket that I bought, you see that? For floorboards. Some of them are painted. Right. Some of you understand this. And we'll torque that down. And we'll do the same on the other side. Pretty much there you go, guys. That's it. It's in. Shaft and bushings are in. I'm not real sure how long we took there, but it wasn't too bad. There's no reason that you guys can't do the same. You can actually do this on the floor if you had to. Just get you a frame jack to hold the bike level, and then your little scissor jack. We're going to take a short break, and then I'm going to do a front motor mount install, and hopefully that'll help you guys get this in a little easier and answer any of these questions. Don't forget, send me an email, give me a call anytime if you need to.